It's great to be here at my first Oshkosh and my first AirVenture. It's been wonderful. Like, we got here yesterday morning and just going around the grounds and getting to see all of you, the great exhibits that we had, and the great shows. It's just a tremendous experience. You know, as you heard, I'm from California. I grew up in Southern California on the western edge of Riverside County. And when I was growing up, it was a small agricultural county in California, and there was a very small general aviation airport that was just down the road from our house, a place called Flabob Airport. And we all know about Flabob. It's, of course, one of the oldest airports in the entire country. Back in those days, people used to get their newspaper by kids on bikes. They would deliver their newspaper, and I was one of those kids. It was an evening newspaper. It was supposed to be on their front steps by something like 4:30 in the afternoon. I can't tell you how many times the newspapers were a little bit late because I was busy watching airplanes. And so it's something that has always been something that's very special to me. You know, what we see here at Oshkosh is the reality is really the foundations that have made the USA such a great place. It's passion. It's all about experimentation. It's all about innovation. And it's all about freedom. But with freedom comes a significant responsibility. And that's a responsibility that we all have, a passion that we all have to ensure safety. The FAA's highest priority is to ensure safety of aviation, and that includes general aviation. And as administrator, there's not a goal that's any higher than that for me. Our approach is to work with the GA community to develop non-regulative and proactive strategies. At the FAA, we put the big focus on reducing the number of GA fatal accidents. We've seen reductions in 3 fatal accident categories: controlled flight into terrain accidents and fatal accidents involving loss of control in flight, and approach and landing. In these 3 categories, what we've seen is a reduction by 1/3 to 40% over the past 5 years compared with the preceding 5 years. Fatal accidents in IMC, particularly for IFR operators, have also decreased overall by about 1/3 over the past 5 years compared to the preceding 5 years, while fatal accidents at night are down by about 25%. That's great progress. For experimental aircraft, I'm happy to report that over the past 2 years, fatal accidents are 17% lower than they were in 2009. And in 2012, experimental fatal accidents are decreasing much more than we anticipated. All of that is very good news. It's excellent news. But we have to make GA even safer. In fact, last year we ended with 271 GA fatal accidents, which was an uptick from the previous year. Too many accidents are still attributable to conscious risk-taking, for example, trying to beat the weather, not checking fuel prior to takeoff, and things like that. So I ask you to commit to a personal safety check for this summer and whenever you fly. This entails 4 things. First, a positive flight attitude. Professionalism needs to characterize every action that a pilot takes. Approach every flight as if your life depends on it, because it does. Second, going beyond pre-flight. A proper pre-flight is more than using a checklist. It should test how well you know your aircraft and all of its systems. Third, en route cruise. Avoid complacency. Stay ahead of the aircraft. Plan for the unplanned, and always, always maintain situational awareness. And finally, maneuvering flight. Attention to airspeed is absolutely critical. Loss of control in maneuvering flight often results from inattention to airspeed.
Avidyne is the brand of choice for pilots who want innovative, easy-to-use avionics, and the new IFD 540 and 440 FMS GPS navcoms set a new standard for ease of use and simplicity. As plug-and-play replacements for legacy 530 and 430 series navigators, the hybrid touch user interface of the IFD 540 and IFD 440 makes it much easier to access the information you want while reducing head-down time, and making flying more enjoyable. Now you have a choice, and the choice is easy. Avidyne.
Well, what else can you do? Well, you can sign up for an FAA safety seminar. You can read important weather and training information online at faasafety.gov. and the FAA Safety Briefing magazine that is available this week and from the FAA all the time. Reach out to all of your fellow pilots, owners, and mechanics and encourage them to take the personal safety check and FAA safety seminars. Encourage them to train for a new certificate or rating, to participate in the WINGS program, our pilot proficiency program. Develop written personal minimums. Decide before you fly. Know what your skills are and whether the flight is going to task them beyond your abilities. Create a solid safety buffer between the skills required for a specific flight, the one you want to make, and the skills that are available to you through training, experience, currency, and proficiency. Participate in your type club to update your training and to reduce loss of control accidents. I've been talking about how we need to make the world's safest aviation system even safer and smarter while we accelerate the benefits of new technology. And I'd like to take a minute to talk a bit about NextGen, because NextGen is the key to how we do that. NextGen is the FAA's plan to transform and modernize our airspace to meet the growth and the challenges that we have in aviation. We're moving from ground-based radar to satellite-based navigation and surveillance. NextGen will provide to GA increased safety, situational awareness, and access to the national airspace system. One cornerstone of NextGen is ADS-B. ADS-B overcomes the limits of radar. It's consistent throughout the range, unlike with radar, where distance from the antenna degrades its accuracy. ADS-B provides service where there is limited or no radar coverage, like in mountainous areas or over the Gulf of Mexico. For aircraft equipped with ADS-B in, pilots will receive real-time traffic and flight information provided at no cost to them. For example, a comprehensive picture of traffic within a 15-mile radius of the aircraft, 3,500 feet above and below, and other information such as NOTAMs and the status of special activity airspace. We've shown that ADS-B improves safety for general aviation in Alaska. Under the Capstone program, many GA aircraft were equipped with early ADS-B equipment. We compared accident rates between the equipped and non-equipped aircraft and found that equipped aircraft had approximately 47% lower accident rates than non-equipped ones. That's huge.
Welcome to the Aero-News Network, the aviation world's most comprehensive news and information resource. Real-time 24/7 online audio and video programming, where aviation has been getting updated for over a decade. Distributing over 11,000 stories, features, audio, and video programs every year. Only ANN covers aviation and aerospace with this much depth, insight, and expertise. Check us out on the web at aero-news.net.
We know that ADS-B equipage is an investment. The FAA requires operators choosing to fly in certain airspace to equip with ADS-B out by 2020. This enables aircraft to broadcast their positions to the ADS-B network. The rule requires ADS-B out only in designated airspace. For instance, in Class E airspace, where the majority of GA users would encounter the mandate, ADS-B out will be required only for those that operate above 10,000 feet MSL. We encourage GA pilots to talk with those who have experienced ADS-B and its benefits and to evaluate the potential costs and benefits in their own individual flying situations. And the marketplace is also responding to the mandate, and we're seeing an increasing number of affordable ADS-B products. We've seen them here this week. Satellite navigation is also providing great benefits for general aviation. I'd like to talk a little bit about a program at the FAA called Metroplex. Through the FAA's Metroplex initiative, we're optimizing airspace and procedures around some of our large metropolitan areas. As this includes RNAV, RNP to streamline and deconflict arrival and departure traffic at major airports, GA pilots will experience fewer delays in getting in and out of surrounding airports. We're allowing many of the airliners and high-flying GA to use optimized profile descents into major airports, often at flight idle power settings. These procedures reduce fuel consumption and emissions and provide a secondary benefit for GA because the descent profiles and routes for the fast movers are set versus ATC using more random radar vectors. What this does is it frees up airspace for air traffic control to clear GA through these areas much more freely. Also, because the OPDs reduce controller-pilot communications, the frequencies that you talk to us on are less congested, allowing GA pilots to reach air traffic much more easily. The FAA is also continuing to deploy Wide Area Augmentation Systems, or WAS, localizer performance with vertical guidance, or LPV, procedures. The new technology will lower minimums at many airports and allow pilots to land during bad weather. Because it is so precise, it will allow them to descend lower to the runway before they need to decide whether to land or whether to go around. The FAA has reached a major milestone by publishing more than 3,000 WAS approaches nationwide. So we have a lot going on. I know you have a lot of things, though, that are on your mind. I'm really looking forward to our discussions and our questions,